Early in George Washington's presidency, Alexander Hamilton championed the establishment of the first bank of the United States. But Thomas Jefferson thought that it would endanger liberty, ignite a constitutional crisis, and set a very dangerous precedent. In this video, I'll explain why. In 1789, First President George Washington tapped Robert Morris to head the new Treasury Department. Morris turned the appointment down, suggesting Alexander Hamilton instead. As a friend of Hamilton since the War for Independence, Washington agreed, appointing Hamilton to the position. From the get-go, Hamilton advanced an economic platform that called for a British-style national bank, believing it would help establish credit with foreign governments, inspire public confidence, and stabilize American currency. The bank would be privately held but have public duties. He made a case for the institution in his 1790 Report on a National Bank, which called for Congress to consider and pass a law to charter the institution. Building upon precedent left by his tutor Morris, who helped finance the War for Independence and establish the Bank of North America during the Articles of Confederation, Hamilton considered the bank the primary feature of his economic plan. For Hamilton, there was but one hurdle standing between him and his vision. In both Washington's cabinet and Congress, a fiery debate broke out over the constitutionality of the bank bill. In Congress, James Madison led the charge against the bill, attacking it as the product of a fallacious legal doctrine. He also thought the bank was part of an attempt to subvert republicanism and embrace monarchy, arguing that the bank favored the concentration of wealth and influence at the metropolis. In his most direct attack, Madison explained that the bank was condemned by the silence of the Constitution, was condemned by the rule of interpretation arising out of the Constitution, was condemned by its tendency to destroy the main characteristic of the Constitution. Despite the attacks of Madison, William Branch Giles, and Michael Jennifer Stone, the pro-administration Congress passed the bank bill. President Washington consulted his cabinet on the matter and asked Hamilton, Secretary of State Thomas Jefferson, and Attorney General Edmund Randolph to produce written opinions on the bill's constitutionality. Articulated in his lengthy defense of the bank, Alexander Hamilton's position hinged upon four major points. First, that while no explicit constitutional power to charter a bank existed, its vital importance to a central and sovereign government required its implementation. Second, that a national bank would help streamline and execute the current enumerated powers regarding finance, such as borrowing and coining money. In addition, he wrote, it would make the funding of unexpected war more feasible. Third, that the necessary and proper clause of the Constitution permitted the assumption of implied powers, or powers that were unlisted, and the charter of a bank was among them. On the other hand, Jefferson perceived the bank as the very embodiment of unconstitutional overreach. His argument boiled down to three major points. First, that the Constitution was ratified under the impression that the general government would possess only the powers explicitly delegated to it, and the charter of a corporation was certainly not among them. Second, that the enumerated powers regarding finance, such as coining money, regulating commerce with foreign nations, and borrowing money, could all be accomplished without a national bank. Third, that instituting the bank would set an egregious precedent and permit the execution of arbitrary and unconstitutional policy in the future. As Jefferson put it, permitting the bank is to take possession of a boundless field of power, no longer susceptible to any definition. In the end, Washington sided with Hamilton, signing the bank into law on February 25, 1791. The occasion alienated Jefferson and Madison, who were encouraged to create the Republican Party to oppose Hamilton and the Federalists. As Jefferson put it, Hamilton's bank produced a struggle between the Treasury Department and the Republican interest. The First Bank of the United States and the Hamiltonian doctrine of implied powers both set lasting precedents in the United States. Nonetheless, both would come under fire several times during the early Republic. In my book, Compact of the Republic, I explained how the First Bank of the United States undermined the Jeffersonian vision for a decentralized republic. I've included a link to that below in the show notes, in addition to the best works on the First Bank of the United States. Thanks for watching this episode of History in a Nutshell. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to my channel and check out my other videos.